Today's video is by far going to be one of the most in-depth videos that I've ever done on this channel. If you guys have pressed this, get ready, because I swear to you, after watching 20 to 30 minutes of this video, you are going to get a profound understanding to how I view marketing, how I make all my clients view marketing, and I promise you, from the bottom of my heart, you will never view content the same way again after this video. So you have to really take a pen and paper, take notes and understand. And when times get a bit complicated to actually understand, just push it through, stick it through, because I promise you at the end, you'll understand everything and how this will apply to your kind of content stage. I promise you. What I'm about to go through in this video is going to be a lot of psychology, a lot of perception, a lot of stuff that people cannot fake. Like a lot of people that you guys might watch online might just sell you the conviction of like the story sequences, the reels, whatever it might be. Because imagine the level of sitting down with myself and having to really interpret and think about like the topics I'm about to talk to you right now. It all started when this morning I went to go brunch with a friend of mine. He is a hypnosis coach. He's making a good 80K a month, 100K a month right now. And he wanted my help to actually scale with content. He's good with paid ads. He has a guy for the VSL, but he's lacking the actual organic. Now, a bit of an interesting fact with this hypnosis coach is that he had already made a couple content assets on his actual page that did very good. I'll actually like play it out right now for you guys to actually see. It was a reel that performed extremely well, got him a large amount of booked calls, and I was just sitting there eating my eggs and like drinking my cappuccino with him, and we were just kind of talking as to why his content assets perform very well and what could be the actual cause of it.
600K a month isn't actually that much money, and I know that because a lot of my friends, people in Dubai, like 600K a month for them isn't much at all. Like a lot of these guys, like even one of my friends, for example, he went from 600K a month to making 1.1 million a month. And we were having this conversation, and in literally 3 weeks, he went from 600 to 1.1 million. And it's because he normalized it. He made it a part of his identity. And like, you can do the exact same.
My good friend, Janardhan, got almost 500 comments. And I think his AOV is about, I think 8 or 9K. And he closed about 15 people from this one reel. Guys, do the math. That is insane, okay? Off of one reel. But what's my message for today? My message for today is how you are going to post content to the point where you're going to borderline hypnotize your audience into doing exactly what you want them to do without them even realizing. Understand that you watching right now as a coach making 20, 30K a month, right? You still haven't cracked content, right? You still are not able, like right now, if I were to ask you right now, hey, can you explain to me exactly the exact step-by-step process and reasons on how you made 30K last month or 40K last month, so you can predict it this month as well? You won't know what to say. You'll look at me and be like, I don't have an answer for you, because it's not a predictable source of acquisition. The way you've acquired 30, 40K cash collected last month is not predictable because you haven't taken the time to actually understand, wait a second, how did I actually make this money? Let me trace down the exact steps that I had to take, the decisions I had to make this kind of money. And nobody thinks about it like that. Everyone makes a good 30, 40K a month, and no one takes the time to think like, how did I actually get here? How did I make this kind of money? And how can I do it again? And that is why people are stuck. That is why people are going month after month trying to chase the new high, but they're not getting there. And I want to show you guys, I really want to show you guys a large paragraph that I sent to my cohort this morning. Every Sunday, I send over large paragraphs to my cohort. Either it's going to be a lesson that I've learned this week, or it's going to be a passage that I've read, or just my interpretation on a specific subject, whatever it might be. And it always keeps them going because, guys, it's Sunday evening. It's 8 p.m. Dubai time off this beautiful skyline. And something compelled me to film this video because I'm genuinely so obsessed. So obsessed to the point where I take my Sundays just to think, like, how can I better fulfill for my clients? What can I do on this Sunday so I can make a decision to better fulfill so my clients get the best results, so when they come into the new week starting out, they will get the best results possible. That is how I think. That is how I always think for my clients. So look at the screenshots and look at the overall message that I sent over to my audience, okay? This is gonna be a bit long-winded, so just brace yourselves, guys, okay? But really, really understand what I'm about to show you right now. This is very in-depth marketing, okay? Look at this. And everyone here was like saying how thankful it is and everything. So check this out, okay? I'm like, at everyone, good morning and happy Sunday to everyone here. I wanted to take some time today and construct this message that has taken me a while to formulate in my own mind so that I'd be able to then digest it properly and pass it on to every coach in here. I went to breakfast this morning with a good friend of mine that offers hypnosis coaching to other entrepreneurs. We were bouncing ideas back and forth on what kind of content performs very well on his page and what could be the possible reason behind it. For context, we had taken one outlier on his page that had selfie talking head video format of him speaking to the camera, stating how $600,000 per month is not a lot of money, and the fact that you think it is why you aren't going to make that unless you change your perspective. At surface value, we could have easily decided to say, oh, well, the reason this performs so well is just because you called out their income goal and told them to think higher. Let's do more of that. A lot of people would have looked at this kind of video format and would have stopped there. Maybe even people watching this video would have looked at that format and say, oh, this works. Let's do more selfie video talking head of you breaking down people's ceilings and call it a day. Why stop there? Why stop there? I then write, but I decided to take a few minutes in silence and truly think. Guys, I was at the brunch place. He thought I was crazy. I just didn't talk for like 10 minutes. I'm like, bro, just give me like 5-10 minutes to just think. I just stare in the abyss. I stare like the Palm Ocean. And I'm just like thinking in my own thoughts. Like, guys, I've gotten used to this kind of like monk mode kind of mentality. Like, I've been here in Dubai for 3 months now from Montreal. And like, I'll just sit in my penthouse and I'll just think for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, just stare into a wall and start to like interpret certain things, certain ideas. I used to never do this, guys. I used to have the lowest attention span ever. And now it's all I do. Because I've literally become so obsessed with this game, okay? For context, this 145-second reel got him over 15 closes. His AOV is nothing under 9K, pretty badass, right? Anyways, back to my point. I began sitting and ideating different reasons behind why such a strong conversion and reaction had taken place when he opened with that hook, plus broke down the statement in the body about normalizing your goals. And that's when I began to formulate a hypothesis that felt like a thread I just kept pulling and pulling and pulling, and eventually leading to a full understanding. Here goes. The reason why the core message of normalizing your monthly goal was so high converting was due to the pain most entrepreneurs face. As you know, you're constantly hit with doubt as an entrepreneur, as everyone here watching. You are constantly faced with struggles, with periods of isolation where sometimes no one understands your path or journey, times where you feel alone, others get in their head about it and begin thinking that their monthly goal that they have set out for themselves is actually too out of reach, that is getting unattainable, and the stress, anxiety, and doubt in themselves creep in. This leads to you feeling as if you're operating from your shadow, the 1.0 version, instead of the 2.0. You deep down know what you need to do, yet cannot find a reason as to why you aren't getting it done. And so I began understanding that the reason this converted wasn't actually about simply making more reels or normalizing your goals, which is what 99% of these consultants out here would say, but rather ideate and construct different assets that will give the audience a sentiment of hope, of understanding, of realization that the goal they had set out for themselves actually isn't big after all, which leads to a sense of pressure on their shoulders suddenly gone because they stopped pedestalizing the number they've always used to put up their mind. They had a sense of hope, of reassurance, of positivity that their goal is actually possible because it isn't anything special came out of the creator's mouth. Notice how much deeper we went there. Notice that if we stopped at simply saying, yeah, make more reels where you call out an income goal and then say that you have to normalize it, it wouldn't actually get us that far. Why? Because now we can extract the emotion, that feeling that the audience felt when interpreting the reel in real time. And now we can ideate different formats that would have the same effect and reaction towards the audience. What does this do? Not only are we able to predict the audience's sentiment now, but we can also expand our reach towards a broader segment of the market, putting us in the best probable position to have a strong converting asset leading us to booked calls and pay in fulls. Different formats, as an example, talking head, whiteboard, etc. The interpretation goal stays the same. Having my direct ICP feel the sense of weight lifted off their shoulders, the sense of anxiety gone, the sense of doubt gone, because they were told that the goal they had in their mind actually is more achievable than they could ever imagine. They feel a surge of motivation that they will actually get there, and that you are the reason that they feel that way. Or the second possible emotion is that they crave the confidence you have when saying that. Therefore, they will come to you when seeking the same level of guidance due to them admiring you. Now, how can we use this for your own positions? Take your top 5 performing reels and analyze the message behind it. Analyze the audience's perspective when watching it. Analyze how they would have felt. How did you indirectly sell them off of that video? What did they interpret from the video that they performed? And what message did you ingrain in their mind? And how did that lead to them converting? What psychological trigger or emotion did you hit? What behavior did you incite them to adopt based on this idea, topic, or message you've outlined? And then, how can you replicate the same exact behavior and emotion across future assets? We must always work from the back to the front. Notice how much easier it will become after doing this exercise on ideating content. Why? Because you are now capable of predicting how a person will react in real time after interacting with you. You're able to predict how your client will behave right after watching your content when it comes to ideating and what kind of videos to make. You always want to start by answering the question to yourself. What behavior or action do you want your client to adopt? And then from there, from the behavior, stems the thought process. And from the thought process is what do we want to plant into our audience's mind? Once we have that answer, we can then ask ourselves, what do I have to say and show in your content to be able to transfer the thought process that you want in your audience's mind? Guys, pay attention here about yourself or the topic you're speaking about. I'll say that one more time. What thought process do we want to incite and implant in our audience's mind? Once we have that answer, we can then ask ourselves, what do I have to say and show in your content to be able to transfer the thought process that you want in your audience's mind about yourself or the topic you're speaking about? Notice how much simpler it now becomes. Notice how much more well thought out it now becomes. Because now every content asset that you post will have this intent behind it. It will be genuinely impossible not to subdue your audience in real time and get them to truly align with you because you know exactly why you're posting every day. Use this properly, and August will be your record month. No maybe, no if, no possibly. It will be. That, guys, is by far one of the most comprehensive ways I've broken down content on this channel. When I speak about a winning format that you have on your page, really take the time to understand what are different hypotheses or scenarios behind why the audience really engaged with this piece of content and what made them want to convert with you. Really take the time to understand this. Take the time to hypothesize what could have led them to wanting to book a call with you and engage with you. Because for this specific example, it wasn't just, he had normalized the income ceiling of the audience, but it was deeper than that. And do you know what happens when we're able to ideate why it was deeper than that? We can now extract the behavior that the audience took from the reel and then ideate different pieces of content and formats that will also represent the same behavior goal that we have of them. So if the behavior goal of the audience right now was they got a surge of motivation and a surge of reassurance that the goals they have set out are actually more achievable than it actually was in their own mind, we can make content based around the same kind of idea. We can make content where the thought process and behavior implanted in the actual audience's mind will be the same. Because guys, what you have to understand is every piece of content that you post, every content asset that you post on your page will in some way, shape, or form, if done properly, subdue your audience to a specific set of actions. Your audience or your customer or your overall prospect views one of your reels. Your reels is a form of energy. The energy is a culmination of the music you use, the words you say, what you showcase, everything. Once you put all those together, you have a set of thoughts that your audience is triggered by. You push your audience towards a specific thought process, but thoughts lead to actions. Actions lead to behavior. So if we just keep that in mind for now, if we just think about, okay, cool, so I know that every piece of content that I post on my page will implant a set of thoughts on my audience. Wouldn't you want to control what thought process your audience has regarding your content? If you get to control the thought process that your audience has, you could further control the behavior the audience will take based on the thought process. So if, for example, I post a video like this right now, and my goal of the thought process that I want to instill and ingrain on my audience is the knowledge and expertise that I have when it comes to organic content and the psychology behind it, and the thought process you now have when it comes to you posting your own content. I know that if you adopt that thought process, what behavior is going to follow, what set of actions will follow, whether it's booking in a call, whether it's just watching my content, but whether it's being ingrained from this perspective. So the more stories you watch of mine, the more you realize that you need the proper help. This is an example. But do you understand the power of when you wake up in the morning and you start viewing content this way? You start thinking of content like this. You're predicting the behavior and the thought process that your audience is going to take. And if you can predict the actions and the thoughts that your audience will have, you can predict them booking in a call. So when I spoke about earlier in the video where I asked you, if you were to tell me how you made 30, 40K last month, you wouldn't be able to tell me how. After doing this, you'll be able to give me a whole list of reasons behind why you were able to subdue or to implant the thought process needed into your audience to make 30, 40K a month. A lot of coaches right now in this space don't know why they even made the money they made last month. If I were to come up to them and ask them, brother, can you explain to me in depth how you were able to make this kind of money so you can predictably make it this month again? They would not know what to say, which is why the confidence as an info coach is at an all-time low. They keep comparing themselves to the highest months and they keep attaching their confidence to their income. Yes, every coach does that. Every client of mine that first joined had done that. They attach their self-worth, their self-confidence to the money that they make in their payment processor. And the moment a month goes bad, the moment you have a low month, your confidence tanks. Do you know why your confidence tanks? Because you don't know how to predict the income that you're making month after month. Why not? Because you haven't taken the time, like I have, for hours on end, to really sit with myself and think, what is the psychology behind content? How could I instill a set of actions that will be congruent to what I want within my marketing towards my audience? So I highly recommend you speak to all of the clients that you have right now in your court and you ask them these kind of questions. You go and you interrogate and you ask them, what kind of content assets did you see on my page? What was the thought process that was ingrained in your mind when watching this? What set of actions did it force you or push you to want to take? Because once you have that information from your audience, you can really start to understand content at the psychological level, which is what I want every single person here to do. Do you guys understand? I've been in this game, in the growth ops space, consulting space, for specifically 12 months now consulting, but growth op, it's been more than 2.5 years, 3 years. And I've yet to see someone, and I wish I had this when I started out, when I was making 30, 40K a month. I've yet to see someone explain content the way I just had, because I had to learn this by myself. I was always the one being told, Jerry, just post this, post that story sequence, post this reel, don't ask why. I was told to just do as I'm told, post the stories that I'm told to post, and not ask why. But then I said, I've had enough. I wanted to find out why for myself. I wanted to find out once and for all, why did this story sequence convert? Why did this video convert? And how can I replicate it so it happens every single time? But it wasn't until I took the time to really think about how a piece of content, a literal piece of content, the way you're watching right now, is a ripple effect. Imagine your YouTube asset or your reel being a rock. And when you throw that rock in a lake, the lake being the market, it's going to skip off the water. That creates a ripple effect. That is what your content does in real time. As you throw your asset and you post your asset into your market, depending on how specific your messaging is and how clear you are on who you're speaking with, it will create a ripple effect that will first start and trigger a set of thoughts that your audience is going to have. And those thoughts will lead to the actions that you want them to, which could be either to follow you, to comment, to book a call, to buy from you, to want to watch more videos. Whatever the action intended is, it's going to trigger that, because at the root of it, you've understood what to say and what to show in that piece of content. You know how to throw the rock in a way where the ripple will be in your favor. That is the best way I could explain the psychology behind the piece of content. So now you know that before you press record on your next video, before you press record on your next Instagram reel, sit and think with yourself, what thought process do I want my audience to adopt after watching this video? And then from the thought process, what kind of behaviors would lead from that would be in my favor? And then what is my intended goal from this? Well, if my intended goal is want to garner a connection with my audience, I must understand what thought process they have to first have that would adopt the action of having the personal connection with me. Once I understand the thoughts I can then predict the actions, and I can then predict the outcome. I am telling you in the past 20 minutes how to literally predict money in your business. I am literally telling you from coach to coach, from a consultant to another consultant or business owner or agency owner, whatever it is. I'm literally telling you how you can use your psychology to predict the outcome and the actions that your audience will take. I have journals full of pages of me writing about stuff like this. And I said, why am I going to gatekeep? Because normally it was only tended to actually have my cohort understand this. But I said, God is compelling me. Today's Sunday, the day of the Lord. God is compelling me to tell more people. There's a lot of people in my DMs I see that don't understand how content actually works. That if they watch this video, they would be able to explain and understand why they made 50K last month and how they can do the exact same this month, because now it becomes predictable. And I want that for every single person. I genuinely do. I want every single person to see psychology for the way it is, to understand psychology for the way it is. Guys, once you understand psychology and content, do you understand how good life gets? Do you understand, like this morning, I went to go eat breakfast with a friend of mine that we're gonna work together. That's gonna be easy 10K day, right there. Yesterday, someone just paid for the modules. I don't know if it was 3K or 4K, I literally forgot because the processor just went through. I have to do this much fulfillment, and I just made a 3 or 4K just right there. The day before that, I had an upsell from a current client that has to have a back-end build out. 7,000 Canadian right there. It was a 25K weekend between Friday and today. 72 hours, over $25,000 collected. And my fulfillment barely changes. And my amount of hours of delivery barely changes. I still go to the gym. I still go to the pool and tan for 30 minutes to an hour and enjoy music and go and swim. I still work out. I still go run. I still do my training. I still see my family, call my loved ones. I'm still able to go here, make a video because I enjoy making content. 25K weekend. 25K weekend. And they all came from my content. 25K weekend, and it's just getting started. How can I make 25K in a weekend? Because I've understood how to speak to my market. I've understood what my market needs, craves, desires. And I've understood how to form a set of beliefs through my audience with content that will trigger a set of actions that will be conducive to their business and my business. Hence the reason why I haven't had a single chargeback or refund ever in my life, and I take pride in that. I hope this inspires you. I hope this pushes you to make you realize the info space is not dead. It's actually growing more than ever before. You just have to be on the right side of it. And if there's one thing to take on this video, is really start to question everything that you learn and hear on social media. Every YouTube video, everything that you would listen to and hear, start to question everything. And only then you'll begin to actually understand the concepts outlined. If this has helped you guys, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe down below as well. I always want to grow my YouTube channel. Happy Sunday, guys. God bless everyone here. Crush the rest of the week, crush the rest of the month. It's July 19th, more than halfway towards the year already. Only you know if the resolution that you've set in the beginning of this year has been accomplished through your business. And if not, and you know that you have work to do, send me over a DM at SteckWithJP on Instagram. I'll give you some guidance. I'll help you out. I'm a good guy, don't worry. And as always, guys, keep pushing, because there's someone out there that is waiting for you to inspire them. And when that happens, your life will turn upside down. God bless everyone. Take care. Ciao.